Okay, guys, so welcome to this month's Q&A. I see we've got a handful of people who have joined us already. So every month we're doing it live, we seem to be getting a little bit better response. Guys, please comment and just say that you can hear me before I go on here. Just give me the thumbs up. Cool. So you guys are hearing me okay. So as I said, look, welcome to this month's Q&A. There's a heap to talk about this month. Let's start off with what I normally do and talk about what's new, here at Aussie Reviews. So the first thing I'll talk about is upcoming reviews. Now, I've got the Pulsar Krypton 2 XG50, which is a clip-on thermal. Now, I've been playing with that for a couple of weeks. Some really good results with it. You guys may have seen some of the shorts that I'd put up, especially where I ended up shooting two hares or jackrabbits, as some people know them by, with the one shot. It was a lucky shot, I guess. And yeah, I managed to be able to get that, on footage. So keep an eye out for that review. I'm actually going to be heading out again tonight after I finish this Q&A, just to have a bit of a scout around and see what's moving at the moment. So it's pretty dry, the farm. So yeah, at the moment, it's a little bit hit and miss with what feral pests are running around, because unfortunately I can't make an appointment time with them. But anyhow, we'll do our best with it. So keep an eye out for that review. Also, too, if you follow me on Facebook or any of the social medias like X or Twitter, Instagram, you would have seen that I got the Sulan Arms Taxsaurus shotgun, finally. Now, the hold up there, guys, was a PTA. Like, it just took a little bit longer than expected, but anyhow, it came through and I was able to pick that up. So I've got that today. Haven't really played with it too much, like haven't shot it or anything like that. Obviously just cycled the action a bit there, had a bit of a feel of it to obviously compare it to Benelli M4. Look, they're pretty good in the sense of, I find the materials that they use in them, the handling, for a Turkish shotgun, I think they're probably one of the most well-built Turkish shotguns that I've seen. So yeah, keep an eye on that one, guys. I'll be getting that out. Hopefully, I'm hoping in the next week or so. Just depends on timings there. Okay. So yeah, so we've got that. Also, too, I've been uploading a fair few shorts to YouTube. A lot of people have asked about it, and I know there's a lot of channels that do it and everything, and I finally get around to it, so I've been doing that. So you'll see some of the highlights from over the years on those shorts, and I mean, it's impossible. I mean, I've got, what, 600 and, I don't know, 50 or 60 odd videos up on YouTube, so people can't and they don't have the time to go through all of them individually. And there's some real highlights in a lot of those videos that I'll bring to you in those shorts. So keep an eye out for those shorts when they pop up. It's like anything, guys, please just thumbs up, give us a like there. It helps the whole algorithm. Speaking of that, I'm still getting people who are being unsubscribed by YouTube without their permission. So please, guys, check your subscription to me and make sure that bell icon is on so you get the notification, especially when we go live and do this, sort of stuff. I'll answer a question here. Did I get the 14 or the 18 inch? No, I got the 18 and a half to be exact. So that's the one that I got, and then I'll be bringing to you guys. Okay, so let me also talk about a couple other questions that I've got. People have asked a lot about Hank, and I really appreciate that, guys. It's been pretty lonely without him, that's for sure. Like, always look around like he was a shadow to me here on the farm, It's been 3 months now, and yeah, it's been a tough trot, but it is what it is. There's not much more I can do about it. I've done absolutely everything I can and exhausted every avenue that I could possibly do to try to find him and, put the word out and everything like that. So, yeah, so a little bit hard there, guys, but look, it's the way it is. But, I'll get another AMSTAF in time to come, but just not right now. Another big one I want to talk about, guys, too, is ammo shortages. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following what's going on in the US, but man, they are out of control. I was talking to a friend of mine in Texas, and about 2 weeks ago, he gave me the heads up that the Winchester factory in Salt Lake City had stopped civilian orders there of 5.56 ammo and I believe 9mm ammo. So I thought, wow, okay, well, it's starting. And obviously, people have been, you know, looking at different options to be able to get ammunition, especially with the threat of World War III, basically, with everything that's going on overseas. So since that time, we've had insane amounts of ammunition sales and increases in the US. So just last weekend, 223 ammunition went up by 41%. And if you go to like Brownells and a lot of those and have a look at the price of the ammo there now, especially for 223, it's yeah, it's crazy. But anyhow, have a look at that and just expect prices here in Australia to obviously increase, and we're also going to, continually suffer with our weakening dollar against the US dollar. So as I've said for many, many years, guys, get what you can while you can. It doesn't hurt to get a little extra so that you've got it and you've got it at the right price. Okay. What do we got else here? All right, so I want to talk to quickly, guys, about those of you who have ordered the new Gen 3 gun bags. Now, those of you who don't know, I won't do this for very long. We'll do it very quick. This is the new Gen 3 gun bag. So it's Australian-made oilskin. We've got Australian-made wool, Australian leather with my logo branded into it, and it's basically 5 centimeters taller than what the Gen 2 bags were. So it accommodates those much larger scopes, especially like night vision, thermal, that sort of stuff. I've only got 100 of these coming before Christmas. They're due this month, guys. So they're actually being dispatched to me in about another week's time. So what my plan is to actually have all the satchels written out to those who have pre-ordered. And then as soon as they land, basically I'll be ripping them out of the box, packing them up individually to the satchels and getting them sent off to you guys. So if you guys want to jump on an order, I've already sold over half of them on pre-order. So guys, I didn't get the 200 because I just couldn't afford to, unfortunately. So I'll just put the link here where you can go to the Aussie Reviews shop. And if you want to pre-order that, jump on it, $129. Unfortunately, I got hit with a little bit more for shipping costs now. It's like everything. Prices just going up. It's just ridiculous. So, but anyhow, guys, if you want to get one of the Gen 3 gun bags, yeah, jump online and have a look at that. So, okay. Now, what else? Guys, we've got, believe it or not, it's only going to be another 5 weeks, and it's a year since I collapsed and went into hospital. So, hasn't that time, really, really gone quick? So, fingers crossed. I've got an appointment with the surgeon this month, and they're doing scans on me again to make sure everything's okay. But I do feel okay, so touch wood, there shouldn't be any problems there. Guys, I will get to just general questions shortly. Okay, I know there's a few of them coming in. But yeah, I always prioritize those of you who submit your questions via Patreon, okay? Because those guys obviously donate to me, and it's the right thing to do with, being able to answer their questions first, okay? So just please, if you could just hold some of the questions for a moment, and I'll just get through the Patreon questions first, okay? So the first question we've got via Patreon is from Jared, and he says, hey Aussie, thoughts on the new rifle foregrip lever/button release rifles? Any chances of review? Yes, mate, I have seen them. I haven't had a chance to actually physically hold one yet, but I am very keen, obviously, to do a review there. Next question I got here is from Shane, and he says, Aussie, love the reviews and hope you're doing okay. Question I have is referencing the police, in particular QPS, so Queensland Police, doing their safekeeping inspections. What can they do, and more importantly, what can't they do? I understand that they can enter a household and inspect the gun safe and its contents for storage compliance. Are the QPS then entitled to enhance their inspection to include contents of other cabinets or other areas used for the storage of ammo, primers, powders, etc.? Are they also able to inspect the remainder of the house and any outlying structures such as carports, sheds, farm buildings, etc.? Thanks for your time. This is a really good question, this, guys, and this is something that a lot of people are just not aware of whatsoever. Now, where this comes in, okay, is this is for Queensland, guys, and, you know, take it as it is. This is my view on the legislation, okay? So we have in Queensland what's called the Police Powers and Responsibilities Act, okay? And under Section 22 there's a power of entry, and it talks about entry to certain places to make sure that there is compliance with a relevant law. But then when you actually have a look at what relevant law means, okay, so then you go to the Police Powers and Responsibilities Regulation, okay, and Schedule 2, which you'll find on, where are we, page 26. I did leave it up here so that we could reference it. It talks about all those relevant laws, okay? So when it talks about the Weapons Act 1990, which is what firearms legislation falls under here in Queensland, it says, but only in relation to a place used for one of the following purposes under a license or other authority under that act, being the Weapons Act. A, an approved range. B, an approved shooting club. C, an armourer. D, a collector. E, a dealer. F, security guard. G, security organisation. H, shooting gallery. And I, a theatrical ordnance supplier. So nowhere under there does it give a power of entry there to inspect for someone who's got a normal firearms license or concealable firearms license there, you know, such as your AB or ABC or your H there for sports target shooting, okay? If you're a collector, then yes, they have that power of entry there, okay? So the other thing you've got to be aware of now, to answer your question more there, Shane, I do know of a couple of people who, if they get a notification about an inspection, they refuse point blank to have it done at their house. They'll take their firearms down to the local station, and they'll allow them to inspect the firearms there. So, you know, that's the way they do it. When you look at now, this is another area I want people to be aware of. Okay, so when you look at the Weapons Act there, when you put in for a license or you put in for a permit to acquire, there are inquiries into that application that can be made. Okay, now specifically, there is a section for both a PTA and a license there that says an authorised officer can inspect the secure storage facilities for the weapon or category of weapon possession of which is to be authorised, you know, by the licence or a permit to acquire. So, you know, for those out there that want to sort of push the boundaries a bit, you know, and say, well, look, you're not coming to inspect the firearms. Well, next permit to acquire you put in, there is a power there for people, for an authorised officer to inspect your secure storage. Okay, so that was a little bit long-winded, guys. I hope you follow me there. But Shane, it's a really great question, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. There is no actual power of entry to enforce a relevant law for someone with a private firearms license, other than obviously if you've got a collector's license or any of those other ones that I read out to you. So thanks for that really good question, mate. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, you know, quite shocked about that. Okay, let's get on the next question from Bill, and he says, hope all is well, Aussie. I got a chance to buy a second-hand ticker CTR in 6.5 Creedmoor. Has only had 100 rounds through it. I was looking at the CTR in 308. The local gun shop owner owns it. Only thing I can see wrong with the 6.5 is maybe the ammo cost and availability. Need your thoughts on this, as it'll be my main gun being used for target and ferals such as wild pigs. Thanks for your time. Mate, good question. As I've said many times, when people start to go away from the real run-of-the-mill standard calibers, is what is the availability of ammunition? How much of it are you going to shoot? And, you know, what is the cost of it? But if you've looked at the prices there for 308 recently, mate, they're really on par with a lot of the 6.5 Creedmoor ammo. It's just insane. I can't believe how much it has all gone up. So, I was looking at 308 in the gold medal match the other day, and it was like $4 a shot, and I'm like, what? I remember this was like $1.50 a shot, so it's really, really gone up. So my advice on that one, mate, would be, look, are you a little bit recoil sensitive? If you are, 6.5 is a great option over 308. You're going to have that little bit less recoil, and for what you're doing, I mean, obviously, target use, the 6.5 Creedmoor is absolutely brilliant. And for shooting game, such as pigs, mate, there's not a pig in Australia that you won't be able to drop with a 6.5 Creedmoor. So I would answer those questions that I've just asked you. How much are you going to shoot? What's the availability like where you are, and what cost is it? So then just weigh it up from there, keeping in mind, are you recoil sensitive? Uh, Next question I got here is from Wayne. He says, "Hi Aussie, hope all is well. Can I ask a quick question on Japanese rifle scopes? I'm planning on buying a general purpose rifle scope to use in both hunting and targeting, and target shooting on the range. Trying to buy slightly better quality and therefore looking into those made in Japan. Just wondering if you could shed some light on Japanese rifle scopes, which brands may be good. Is there any particular features that they have? So far, I've found two brands, Vixen and Riton. Not sure if they're any good or not. Thanks in advance." Well, mate, my answer on that one is I honestly don't know those brands personally because I haven't used them. What I have used from Japan is I've used the Vortex line that is Japanese made, very good. Also to the Trijicon line. If you actually have a search on my videos, just do Aussie Reviews Trijicon and you'll see the AccuPoint come up. I find them a great little scope. They're not that common here in Australia, but you can get them. And, they're Japanese made as well, being in that sporting line. So I always look at Japanese made as my benchmark, mate. I don't go under that for my own firearms. I don't really have a fondness for Filipino or Chinese made scopes. That's just me. I know there's some people who will swear by them, but for me, I'll always go a Japanese scope as a baseline. So have a look at the Vortex line made in Japan, and also have a look at the Trijicon as well, mate. I like those scopes in particular. Now you've got another question here. You've asked here, occasionally there are sales in gun shops that some European brands like Fiocchi and PPU are significantly cheaper than USA made ammo. Just wondering, are they any good? Well, if they're only as good as what they are in your rifle. So what I mean by that is you'll find some people, mate, will swear by it because their particular rifle loves it. So what my advice would be on that is just pick up a packet and go and shoot it and see if your rifle takes a liking to it. Also, to keep in mind, if, for example, it shoots, say, an inch group at 100, whether it's 5 shots or 3 shots, right? And then your favorite American-made ammo is shooting, say, 0.8 or 0.7 of an inch for that same group at 100. But if your main use there is hunting, then is there much difference? Dead is dead. So if you get that ammo for a fraction of the cost, say half the cost of what the American ammunition is, and it shoots well in your rifle, that's a consideration worth looking at. Okay, next question I got here is from Michael. He says, "Hi Aussie, given you live in Queensland and you don't have a duck season where you are, is it possible to hunt ducks under a mitigation system like it's done in New South Wales, or has there been any efforts to roll back the ban?" Mate, I don't know on that one. Nothing that's been successful, put it that way, because obviously it's still, prohibited. So I know they've got something similar under a mitigation permit. You can supposedly take flying foxes, but I don't know about ducks because I've never looked into that, because my farm here is beef cattle. So it's not like I've got a turf farm or something like that where, obviously ducks would come in and eat that down. So yeah, I can't answer that one fully. Maybe some of you guys in the comments who have a bit more information on this can comment there. Last question I got from Simon. He says, hi Aussie, have you any plans for reviewing the CZ600 or similar rifles? Keep up the great work, mate. Yeah, I do actually. I really would like to get one of the CZ600 rifles. I've been looking at them, but mate, at this stage, it's like anything, because most of the stuff I'm buying, so I've got to be able to get the money, you know, and then take the loss on it when I do sell it again. So yeah, mate, I'm very keen on looking at doing that. But yeah, I just don't know when at this stage. Okay, so that's all of the Patreon questions for this month, guys. So let me just read back over some of the questions here, and we'll go here. So M. Gabriel from Missouri. Okay, well, hey, welcome aboard. Just asking if I was impacted by the Western Australia gun bans, basically. Well, no, mate, because I'm on the opposite side of the country in Queensland, but it doesn't mean that it won't come here. This really brings me back to what I've been saying, I don't know how long now. All shooters have to stand together. Every one of us have to be united and fight. Gun rights is a global effort. It's not a state effort. It's not a country effort. It is a global effort. Hence why I'm a life member of the National Rifle Association in the US. Why? Because I wanted to donate money there and obviously fight for gun rights there as well. You know, Second Amendment Foundation, all that sort of stuff in the US, same thing. Okay, Matt says, do the Gen 3 bags fit tac rifles with pistol grips? Yes, mate. So they fit my AR, okay, and that's with a red dot on top. So those sort of like straight pull equivalents, you know, it'll fit no problem at all. Obviously, it's not going to fit if you have like a full length 30 round magazine in it. That's going to be too high, but it does fit them, no problem. Okay, so Liam says here, I got a question about your farm size. You said you're on 300 acres. Are you happy with the size and is it manageable? Do you wish you had more or less land? How much cattle do you run on it too? Okay, but I do enjoy these sort of questions because it's sort of going a little bit away from the firearms side of it. Okay, so yeah, 300 acres is a good amount of land to manage. And you know, to be honest, some days I'm just going, wow, there's so much stuff to do, you know, and it depends on the seasons and what happens and stuff like that. So, do I wish I had more? Yeah, you know, when neighbouring blocks come up for sale, I may look at them down the track and expand, you know, as time goes on. As for cattle, I've currently got 48 head of cattle. So, you know, most people around me are selling at the moment because it's just so damn dry. I'm very fortunate. Obviously, the way that I work and the way the farm is with the way it's set up is I've got a fair amount of feed that I can carry cattle right through drought. So the longest I've ever carried cattle through is 12 months with pretty much no rain. So yeah, things were looking pretty dire straits then, but thankfully it rained in time and saved me when a lot of people had to sell off a lot of the cattle and at really bad prices too. That's the problem with it. So okay, another question from Onik. Can I ask what your diagnosis is, Ozzy? Sorry to put a downer on the combo. No, mate, that's fine. Well, diagnosis is good at this stage. There's been no, you know, problems. Like when they did the scan on my lungs, they said well, their words was it's pristine. There was some, how can I put this? When they had a look at the liver, because they took half of it and obviously that regrows, is they were saying there's a little bit of debris in there and that could be like post-operative debris, but that's what the scans this month are going to be about, to make sure that there's nothing sort of there that shouldn't be there. So yeah, at this stage, mate, everything's all pretty good. Okay, just going through some other questions. Okay, so Abdul asked here, what do you think of the Ruger American Ranch in 300 Blackout? Well, mate, I like the Ruger American Ranch. You know, it's just a good hardy rifle, and I've got a few friends that I've put onto them, and they absolutely love them as well. Most of the Rugers like that, in the ranch especially, you'll put 3 shots into half an inch there at 100 with the right ammunition. So really, what more do you need, from a hunting rifle? So I think they're very rugged and reliable, as their motto says. And 300 blackout, yeah, it's a great caliber, but I'd probably be leaning a bit more towards 7.62 by 39 myself. Okay, I'll go through a few more here. Um, Okay, so CLXV asked here, my main caliber is 308. I'm wondering if it's worth going to 300 Win Mag for buffalo and some target shooting. Well, mate, that depends on how far you want to shoot. The 300 obviously is pretty good at 1,000. Where 308, yeah, it'll still get to 1,000, but not as effectively as what 300 does. As for Buffalo there, I mean, look, both 308 and 300 Win Mag have some really great rounds for, heavier game. 300 Win Mag is definitely going to, have that extra punch. But mate, to be quite honest, if I was going specifically for buffalo, I'd look at going up to 338 Win Mag just to open up the heavier projectiles there. So that's the way I'd sort of go. So Alex has asked, Taxosaurus Spinelli M4 copy, leave a release. My opinion. Well, mate, if you saw what, maybe you joined the combo a little bit later, but I actually got one today. I picked it up. So, yeah, it's going to be reviewed. So my opinion of it will be sort of held off until the review is over. Okay, so Jamie asked here, how do you get Wedgetail Industries to reply to an email? Well, I don't know, mate. I've never had that issue from them, but yeah, I'm not sure if there's a phone number or something like that. If Alex from Wedgetail is watching this, then mate, there's a fella here, Jamie, that wants to contact you. So hopefully that'll happen. Leno asked a good question here. Give us your 2 cents on the recent news of American ammo producers being sold to a foreign owner, and whether you think it's possible for an Australian to start producing ammo for the domestic market. I think it is. Anything is possible here in Australia, and what it takes is those of us here in Australia, us shooters, to get behind those companies to allow that to happen. Now, I'm all for Australian manufacturing and Australian companies, but I'm not for people who want to just cash in on shooters here. So, what I mean by that is they wouldn't want to charge ridiculous rates, to produce that ammunition because it's just not going to work if they were to do that. So, I think it is possible. I don't know the legalities in, starting an ammunition, factory or something similar. But yeah, mate, look, it really does, you know, how can I put it? It really does need to happen. We need to be as self-sufficient as possible in Australia because we are so reliant on imports and seeing what's going on overseas. Let's be honest, guys. Like I firmly believe this is the start of World War III. When you look at everything that is going on overseas, we've got Ukraine and Russia, and that's continuing on. But the focus at the moment seems to be on Israel and the Middle East, and everyone's fighting and threatening war and everything else there. You know, it's yeah, it's just crazy. But anyhow, we'll see what happens. And then, obviously here in Australia, we've had troop movements and deployments up north there because there's the ongoing threat of China and Taiwan conflict, and it's just crazy what's going on in the world at the moment. But where I'm going with this, guys, is that's going to affect us, in trade. So I really believe that here in Australia we should be completely self-sufficient. And when you look over the last maybe 40 years, 50 years. There's just been this slow sellout of all our manufacturing here. And I see that as very dangerous, because if there is restrictions or a halt to a lot of imports that we use, and I mean, look at how many products we use from China now. It's just terrible. That stuff should be made here in Australia, and each and every one of us should get behind it. So yeah, I think that it can be done, but it needs obviously us to, get behind those manufacturers. Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so Dingo asked a question. He says, hello, Aussie. First time on the comments, wanting to start chasing deer. What's your thoughts on 30-06? Went to a local gun shop and asked for one, but was told to go for a 270 or 300. Probably because they didn't have a 30-06 in stock, and they probably wanted to sell you what was in stock, is my guess on that one, mate. But 30-06 is, taken every large game, especially deer, mule deer, and everything else in North America. Absolutely fantastic. You've got more punch than 308, but it's in between 308 and 300 Win Mag. I don't see the need to go to 300 Win Mag myself. 270 is a great caliber as well, and that'll fulfill all the minimum deer requirements as far as calibers go here in Australia. So you won't have a problem with that. But 30-06 is a great deer cartridge. You've got a wide variety of bullet weights, and there's plenty of knockdown there. So if you've got your heart set on that 30-06, mate, honestly, I go for it. And don't let someone at the store talk you out of it. So Malou Traeger says here, hey Aussie, curious question of which of your rifles wrecks your shoulder the most, because I doubt you can get a 700 Nitro Express in Australia. Well, mate, in all honesty, like for me personally, I mean, there's a couple of things that destroy the shoulder. When you start shooting 12 gauge solids, and especially 3-inch Magnum solids, that's got some nasty punch. But one thing that's got some punch as well is when you're using 45-70 with those Hornady 325 grain FTX rounds. Yeah, they have got some punch as well. So I don't have any 375 H&H or anything like that. But yeah, those two, 12 gauge and 45-70, definitely definitely hurt the shoulder, especially if you're shooting off a bench. Scott's asked here, hey Aussie, any chance of doing another get together day? Mate, absolutely. I've got to look at doing that. It's like all things. I just need to clone myself, and then I can keep up with everything I want to do. So yeah, that's definitely something I've got to have a look at doing. John says here, hi Aussie, do you reckon you could do a video about knife laws? Just an idea. Mate, yeah, probably I could. That's probably a good idea. I mean, like I love knives, and carrying knives in general. And there are exemptions, for carrying knives here in Queensland. So I'd imagine different states that have, similar type legislation. But excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I like that's probably my passion alongside firearms is knives. Like I get a little bit geeky about it, and I like the different knife steels, and I appreciate a really high quality knife. Yeah, so that's something. It's a good suggestion, mate. Something I'll definitely look into. Okay. So Methpit says, thanks for all you do for shooters, mate. I'm as active as I can be following your lead. Well, I appreciate that, mate, because, there's nothing worse than doing this and then not rubbing off on people and not having people follow your lead and start getting involved. So, yeah, definitely thank you for that. Okay. So Ian's TV says, glad you're healthy and love the way you review a rifle. Long-term review on Ruger rifle 556. Should I replace barrel? What do you think, mate? I don't know. Like, have you currently got a 556 there, or I'm not too sure what you mean by that question. But yeah, I mean they just stand up to the test of time. So, okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so Harry from Oz says, do you know anything about the Marlin 336 Classic in 3030 by Ruger coming to Australia? Mate, not a great deal. I may have a chance of reviewing one soon, so keep an eye out for that. Um, yeah, I've got a lot of confidence in a lot of the firearms that are made by Ruger, or overseen by Ruger. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they are just in general. Okay, let's scan a few more questions here. Okay, so Matt says here, hey Aussie, I hope you're doing well. I've just purchased my first hunting rifle, a Mauser M18 and 7mm Remington Magnum. Any particular scope you'd recommend to pair it with for sambar hunting and at the range? Well, mate, depends on how far you want to shoot it, obviously, but 3 to 9 by 40 would be ample. On that. I mean, you've got a Mauser, so you've got a nice German-made rifle there. In all honesty, mate, I would do a search. There's still some available and for a decent price. Get yourself a Schmidt and Bender 2.5 to 10 by 40 Summit scope. You'll get them probably just under 2 grand. And you'd have beautiful glass on top there to match that rifle, and it'd be something that would just last you to the end of days, basically. That'd be my recommendation. Liam says here, I hope Wedgetail make an MPR in 223 next year. Hopefully it's a bit lighter than the 308. Well, yeah, it should be. You'd think so. And yeah, I mean, like it's a really well built firearm. But as I said when I reviewed the 308, I just didn't like the fact when you shot it and the pump, that action goes forward, but it doesn't lock, like a 7600 or 7615 does. That for me was a negative because I found a couple of times like holding it, you pull it back into your shoulder, and then obviously that action starts to come back a little bit. And then what have you done? It's gone out of battery. So I really hope they can modify that, because I'd love to see it lock into place there so that you could just get that firm grip into your shoulder and not worry about that. So Chico says here, any tips on enticing pigs to a certain area for hunting? They can be hard to track down sometimes. Yes, mate, I would recommend getting a trail camera, okay? Because what you'll find is when the pigs come through, you'll get a certain time period of when they're coming through. And then obviously over, say, a 7-day period or a 2-week period or something like that, you'll be able to narrow it down and go, okay, well, they seem to be coming through between sort of 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. or 10 p.m., 1 a.m., something like that. And you'll be able to narrow it down. That's the way that I do it. And obviously have a look in the areas where there's signs of pigs to see what they are eating. So do you have, for example, like nice green grass there? Is there, are they getting around in the roots of the grass, turning it up because it's more softer ground, or what is it that they're attracted to in that area? So yeah, there's heaps of things you can look at, but that would be my first recommendation. Matt White says here, will the Ticker TAC A1 fit into the new Gen 3 rifle bag with the new sizing? Mate, I'm just trying to think if it does. I don't have the rifle here that I reviewed anymore, so I can't tell you exactly for sure. But the measurements are actually on the website. And obviously on the video that I did, I spoke about the measurements there as well. But if you can basically give me the height, so from your pistol grip to the height of the rear of the scope, send that to me, mate, and I'll gladly, measure it for you, and I'll let you know. Another question here. Mumble says, do you reload, mate? No, I don't. The reason I don't reload is, one, I don't have the time. That's probably the biggest thing. Two is, and this stems back from when I was, running the feral pest control business and going out to various properties, and it even continues now that I'm doing it, just on my own farm. Excuse me. Is when you're doing, excuse me, when you're doing that for work, you have to basically have insurance for it. Okay, so part of that insurance you have to have or provide to the insurance company how you're going to work and what procedure you're going to follow when you're doing that. So if you're using reloads, you won't be covered for insurance. So that's where I basically, you know, I guess sort of didn't want to reload, or didn't find the point in doing it. And ammunition, obviously at that stage was pretty much on par. So for me, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again for those of you who may not have, remembered me saying it, is if I've got a hunting rifle and I can put, 3 shots or 5 shots, depending if it's a varmint or just a sporter, into half an inch at 100 or around there, I'm happy. That's me done. So I don't have to have like absolute hole through hole, because dead is dead. So it's not going to make any difference. So I save my time in the tedious, I guess, going through loads and all the rest of it, because I'm not a bench rest shooter. I'm not a target shooter. Like I'm not there. Look, I'll shoot long range and have a bit of fun, but unless I'm doing that, I really don't see the point in reloading. There's good ammunition specials these days. Just get a little bit extra, and you're set for many years to come without having to fork out for reloading equipment. Okay, let's go through a couple more questions here, guys. Okay, so Dallas says, "Hey Aussie, thoughts on Mosins?" Well, if you actually have a look, mate, I've reviewed one of them, so you'll see what my thoughts are on that. So check out that review and have a look. So just do a search Aussie reviews and Mosin, and you'll see them again come up. Gash says here, "What's the best thermal scope for under 5K Aussie? Good to hear your health is on the upkeep. On the up. Keep the vids coming." Well, mate, at the moment, and it's just under 5K, is I'm actually reviewing the Pulsar. That's the Krypton 2 XG50. Now, that's a clip-on to your day optic. And, if you're going to go for an actual thermal scope, I don't know, like, because Pulsar is really where it's at in my view, until I start having a look at some of the other dedicated scopes. But they're upward of about sort of $7,000. So yeah, if you can stretch it out to that, that's the way I'd be going. Or wait till I finish this review on the Pulsar clip-on XG50, and see if that's something that would interest you, mate, because that's at that price point that you're looking at. Okay. Peter says, "Late to the live stream, sorry. Any inside word on pending ammo shortages?" Mate, look, yeah, we did touch on that briefly. I'll talk about that, okay? So, there's record sales going on in the US, plus there seems to be this push from Biden. They're saying that he's behind it. Now, take it with a grain of salt, but all I'm saying is what I've heard. And they're trying to basically source most of the ammunition for obviously the war effort. And there seems to be, some companies who have allegedly cut off civilian sales, to prioritize government/military sales. So all I can say is, mate, we have got some serious problems here in Australia, because the majority of the ammunition that we get is from overseas. So if there's restrictions over there, or they're buying up like crazy in the US, which they are, that's going to affect us. And then obviously we've got the problem with the constant Aussie dollar dropping against the US dollar. So then, prices go up from there. But ever since COVID, isn't it? They just seems to be just these 10, 20, percent hikes. And last weekend in the States, 223 ammunition went up 41%. Those of you who are interested, go to like brownells.com and have a look there, and have a look at 223 ammo, and you'll see the price of it. It's just crazy. So obviously that's going to affect us. So to answer your question, mate, yes, it's coming, and yeah, like seriously, get what you can while you can would be my advice on it. Okay. Let's go through a couple more here. Okay, so G164 says, "Can we expect to see a Taipan X review?" Yeah, mate, if I get a hold of one, I'll gladly have a review of it. I just find their response with the previous one just absolutely pathetic in my view, and a lot of people saw through that for what it was. But you know, I don't care about that. I care about the product. So if I do get a chance to review one, I'll give you an honest review of it. You know, if it works for me, you'll see that. If it doesn't, well, obviously you'll see that as well. Okay, so EADC says, as a member of the ETU, so Electrical Trades Union, I'm guessing the shooting industry can take some leads on how to organise and run a campaign from one of these bigger unions. Yeah, I agree. Shooters in general, though, are extremely lazy. And I think part of that is because they're frightened that they're going to lose their firearms if they partake in any sort of resistance against, restrictions or firearm restrictions. And that couldn't be further from the truth. You know, no one's saying go out and break the law or anything like that, but you have a right to protest and protest in numbers. So, you know, there are legal avenues where shooters can be involved and obviously stand together. This is one thing, guys, I will talk about just briefly. I did a post there and I was talking about what people in WA can do, and I mentioned about the Shooters, Fishers, and Farmers Party. Now, I don't care about the history, I don't care about anything other than the future with that. Um, they have got to be better than Labor that are currently in WA. So, do Shooters really think that if they were able to get people from Shooters, Fishers, and Farmers Party elected, that they wouldn't actually vote against these restrictions that are coming, and you'd actually have a voice. Are they perfect? I don't know. I'm not in WA, but as soon as I did that, I had you know the old Liberal Democrats, now Libertarian Party, comment straight away and say they failed shooters, vote for us. And that is the perfect example of the infighting of what I'm talking about. To me, the correct response would have been in that situation was, um, yes, vote for shooters, fishers, and farmers, but please consider us because we are happy to work with the shooters, fishers, and farmers party on resisting or fighting any anti-gun legislation. To me, that would have been the right response to do. So, you know, you see what I mean, guys? The infighting's got to stop. Shooters just look for any reason whatsoever to just pull apart someone who's trying to help on just one single thing that they don't like. And what does that do? Then it just goes back on the merry-go-round of the two majors. Like, it is just absolutely mind-boggling that shooters do that. I don't get it. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So, anyhow, that's my thoughts on that, mate. Okay, let's go through a few more here. Dr. Goose, g'day Aussie. Any recommendations for modding the T3X Lite 243 for mid-game, running stock on a 3 to 9 by 40 loophole? Well, I don't see why that wouldn't do the job, mate. How does it shoot? What ammunition do you put through it, and what sort of accuracy are you getting with it? But yeah, I don't really see anything else that you really want to do to that. That's a brilliant rifle and a great scope. Hikvision Thunder 2.0 was 5K street price according to BNWWW. So, okay, I don't know that brand. I haven't had a look at it. I might have to have a look at that. Okay, so Queensland Patriot says, hey Aussie, do you know where I can buy a mount for a Sieger 12 gauge shotgun in Queensland so I can attach a red dot? I don't, mate. Sorry. The only thing that I would say is probably cleavers. I mean, they sell them, so I wouldn't know of anywhere else to go. Okay, so asking another question here, what would be involved other than money, of course, in importing a container load or two to sell of ammunition? Asking as someone who is not currently a dealer. I don't know, mate, about that. I'm not sure. I mean, you'd have to have someone both sides acting as an agent there, I can imagine, because when that comes into Australia, it's going to be over the $1,000 threshold. So then you're going to get import tax plus tariffs. So yeah, I don't know, mate. I think it would be quite expensive, but I'm not too sure on what the requirements are on that. Okay, so Frank says, hi Aussie, thanks for the review on the lever release shotguns between the Buckmaster and the Bushmeister, specifically the loading of the fish shell. If you didn't point it out, I wouldn't have known. Real world. Well, mate, thank you for that. I believe they've fixed that problem, since, and there's no issues with loading the fifth round. If those of you who don't know what we're talking about here, on the Buckmaster, I had a real problem getting that fifth round into the tubular magazine. Like, you'd get to maybe about that far and you'd be just pushing it ridiculously to try to get it in. So, yeah, they have fixed that. But guys, that's what I do. Like, ever since I started this channel, um, like, I don't get the sponsorship from people. The people who pay me and help me are you guys. So you guys who help me out on Patreon, you guys who watch YouTube, and obviously you guys who are kind enough to buy merch from me. You are the ones who help me grow and expand. So, I don't have any obligation to any company whatsoever. So if something doesn't work, I'll show you. And the crazy thing about it is when companies get upset about it, well, what do they think would happen when one of their customers has exactly the same problem and they're at their local range? What do you think's going to happen? They're going to tell about 5 or 10 shooters around them. Then they're going to tell other people and other people from there, and they probably won't be as diplomatic as what I am either. So, I will always do that, guys. If there is a problem with something, I will always point it out there. So I hope you guys like that, because I'm not going to change. That's how I review products. Okay, go through a couple more, guys, and then we'll finish up, because we like to keep it to about an hour of the live Q&As. Okay. So Navitron says 100% on the infighting, but it was a fair comment by the Libertarian Party, because the shooters and fishers have dropped the ball on rights. It's why many shooters went to the LDP, now Libertarian Party. Yep, mate, look, that may be so, but as I said, I would definitely be backing anyone who wants to help. That's exactly how I would be. No more infighting, no more throwing stones and going, but hey, you did this in the past or whatever. Guys, we are going to lose everything unless we join together. We need to vote as one. We need to work as one. I saw today, like about in WA, I posted a petition trying to extend the consultation period. The SSAA, Western Australia, are behind it. I'll give you my honest thoughts on that, guys. Yes, it buys a little bit more time. What does it achieve? Well, perhaps people can come up with some further strategy or something. I don't know. I remember the WA SSAA, having a shot at some of the organisations over here in the eastern states that were commenting on the situation over there and what needs to be done. Put that aside. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't mean a thing. Do the SSAA do enough? There is a lot of people who believe that they don't. That's the honest truth. But if they do something like that and they want to buy more time, it's a step in the right direction. So I support it 100%. I think others should support it 100%. And if you have a problem with the SSAA, for example, as a member, next time they have a meeting, bring it up with the committee and voice what your issues are as a member. So just sort of whinging online won't really achieve much for us, guys. So, and that's the way I look at it. And that goes for any other shooting club or organisation that you may be a part of. If they're going well and truly above and beyond and fighting really hard for gun rights, well, hey, that's the people that I would back. But if there's other organisations that are doing something, but it's not up to what you expect from them, I will still back them in the sense of, hey, for the sake of signing a petition to perhaps get an extended period, on a consultation to change gun laws, to get more organisations and people involved, that's only a positive. So yeah, that's why I would, that's why I would just back things 100%. Okay, guys, like seriously, we are not going to have anything left unless you guys have a look or have seen the video that I posted about the last Australian shooter. Have a look at how much of that stuff is coming true now. It is insane. It's, I did that back in 2016. So, have a look at it all, guys. We are going to lose if we don't join together. No more nitpicking, no more infighting, nothing like that. Vote as one, promote each other, support each other with ideas, and get out there and go for it. So sorry to waffle on about that, but guys, it has to be done. So, okay, so let's go through, excuse me, one or two more questions and then we'll call it a night, guys. Okay, so Greg says here, G'day Oz, I'd like to know specifically, is there any data on the number of firearms related crime perpetrated by a licensed person with a registered firearm? I've been trying to find this stat. Mate, it doesn't seem to be there. I mean, I'm pretty sure it would be, but it doesn't seem to be very public. So, you know what I'd do? I'd probably go to like your local member and then get them to write on your behalf to the police minister of your state or territory. Um, excuse me, and then ask them to provide those stats because they've got to be there. So, and my feeling on it is why wouldn't they have it openly published? Because it'd be so minuscule in my view that it would show straight out that we're not the problem. Duncan says here, G'day Aussie, I just purchased a Taipan X from Cleaver and I saw your review, mate, and I take reviews seriously, but for the price, I decided to give this new model a shot. Well, mate, I hope it goes well for you. Please let me know how it goes. Get out there and give it a good shoot and let me know how it goes. I'm interested to see if they've picked their game up, with those issues that a lot of people had with the previous models. Dirty Fox says, how are you going with all the bushfires that are happening here in southeast Queensland? Yeah, there's been a lot around me. Some neighbours have come pretty close. But, thankfully, touch wood, I'm okay. But in saying that too, I mean, anyone who lives on land really, in my view, is silly if they don't have fire breaks and some sort of strategy or a management system. So, like, I've got some, I've got breathing apparatus as well. So, masks that obviously I can wear in the event of a fire. So I can at least fight a fire or get out without, obviously suffocating. So I've got that, and the area around my house and everything, I keep it nice and mowed. So, if there was a fire there, to be very minimal of how it would actually affect me. Okay, so let's have a look and see if there's one more question, guys, and then we will call it a night, okay? More of a statement. Harry says here, loved your appearance on Kate Fentonell's podcast, mate. Yep, I'm pleased to be invited to that. I don't often get around to doing a lot of podcasts, but there are a couple out there that I gladly and happy to talk to and that. So yeah, Kate does a great job. She was running for the Liberal Democrats federally at the last election too. So very, very passionate about firearms. So have a look at her page, Lady Liberty. If those of you who don't know her page, give her some support because she's very, very passionate about firearm rights there. All right, guys, I think I'll leave it at that for tonight. There's an hour for this Q&A. So thank you once again to all of you, who have followed me over the time period and who join in for these Q&A live sessions. I might even look at doing one if I can set it up, maybe around the campfire one night or something like that, and I was even thinking about also perhaps having, maybe a couple of, I don't know, like kind of like guests or something like this on the live, um, you know, Q&A as well to sort of just expand it a little bit more and maybe create something a little bit more interesting for you guys as well. So if you like that sort of idea, by all means, let me know. So guys, thank you again. It really means the world, to me, and we'll catch you on the next Q&A. So till then, have a look at the new reviews as they come out, and please, please give me the thumbs up, check that subscription, and make sure you got the bell icon enabled. And let's beat that damn YouTube algorithm, which keeps taking all my subscribers away. All right, guys, good night, and we'll catch you on the next review.